Hi, this is Lisa with DIY Ready, and today I'm going to show you how to make a curtain. It's very simple, very little sewing required, and it'll only take you an hour or less. We have our large bulk of fabric, our fabric scissors, our seam ripper, our sewing snips, a pencil for marking, pins, and a measuring tape. You'll also need an iron, and I'm going to use my large cutting mat. If you have one at home, excellent. If not, it's okay. All right, so those are our supplies that we're going to use. Now we have to cut our fabric. First, you want to lay out your bulk of fabric that you bought from the store, and you just want to iron any seams or creases that were created so that it's nice and flat. You want to work with a flat piece of fabric so that your measurements are truly accurate. All right, so our fabric is nice and flat, and it's actually folded over itself right now. So there's two equal parts, front and back. And I'm just going to snip down the middle here so that we have two equal segments to work with. Now, this is the part where you decide the size of your window and how much gathering you want your curtain to have. So my window happens to be a 4x4 square, 4 feet by 4 feet. So I got fabric that was 5 feet by 5 feet. So I would have an extra foot on both ends to work with, especially since you're going to fold under and fold over your fabric. So it's, it shrinks as you continue to sew. I'm cutting a very straight line. I've lined this fabric up along my cutting grid so that I can always make sure it's straight. I love this grid. It's so helpful when it comes to sewing. And guys, just a little hint, measure twice, cut once. That, I'm sure you've heard it before, but that is such an important rule of sewing because once you've cut your fabric, there's really no going back. All right, so basic cut all the way through. Whoop. Now we have two equal panels to work with. Here we have our first panel. All the edges are raw right now and we want to make them finished. So we do that by laying the fabric face down and then folding under on one edge on one side, 1/2 inch. So, if you've been sewing a while, you can probably eyeball 1/2 inch, but if not, just double check. So we have 1/2 inch, and we just want to make sure it's equal all the way down. So we have a nice vertical curtain. So I'm measuring and I'm ironing all the way down the length of the 5-foot curtain. So now I've formed a crease in one of my edges. That's kind of like a guide, because now I fold over again. So fold over the same seam 1/2 inch. So iron and then pin. So you take your pin and simply insert it into the fabric, one end out the other, and it holds it in place. I'm going to repeat this the length of my curtain. Okay, so now that we've pinned the whole length of the curtain, we are ready to sew. And I've already put in the yellow thread on the top, on the spool, and down here in the bobbin. I chose yellow thread to match my curtain because I don't want it to show. Now we're sticking our fabric under the sewing machine at 3/8 inch. That is 1/8 of an inch away from the 1/2 inch mark where we folded under, so that we can be sure to catch the folded edge underneath as we top stitch along the curtain. And since we're top stitching, it's going to be a nice clean straight line, and it's going to be with the right side of your fabric facing up. So here I have aligned everything, and I'm just going to sew like I normally would. Just a nice straight stitch. Removing pins as I go. All the way down. Now what I'm doing here with my left hand is actually I'm kind of feeling the bulk of the fabric just to make sure it's still in place, so I know it's going to be sewing in the right spot. We're going to take that out and snip. And we have one side, as you can see, front side, back side. It's very clean and even, and it's going to look great hanging around our window. Now I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side of my curtain. I'm going to finish that up, make it look clean. All right, so we just finished sewing our other side. Now we have a panel, as you can see. All we have to do is the top and bottom. So we're going to start with the top. Take my fabric, make the right side facing down, and here's our top. We're just going to, once again, I'm sure you are sick of hearing this, but fold under 1/2 inch and iron so it stays in place. At least by now you've figured out, you've been able to eyeball 1/2 inch, right? All right, so we have that. Now we're gonna fold under again, but this time instead of 1/2, we're actually gonna do 5 inches. This is so you can get your curtain through the curtain rod. So I'm gonna find 5 inches and fold it over. You can use your tape measure to find this mark as well. And press. So to keep it in place. So in case that's a little confusing, let me show you that here we have 5 inches here. I'm gonna actually just mark this whole thing. Okay, so now that I have pressed it at 5 inches, I'm just gonna pin it in place as we've been doing. All right, let's sew this. So now I am inserting it into my machine once again. Top side facing up. My pins are a little hidden, but that's gonna work. I'll just pull them out with my left hand. So here is a little tricky because you have way more than 3/8 seam allowance to work with, but just keep feeling where your fabric is underneath and you'll be just fine. And we're sewing. So here we are, a view from the back. Look at that, so clean. Now all we have left is sewing the bottom, but before you do that, you always want to make sure that it's the right height on your curtain rod before you just sew the bottom, before you just go for it. So I'm gonna lay it over my curtain rod, and I'm gonna actually hold it over my window and make sure it's a good size. Be right back. All right guys, well I tested it over my window and it was indeed the right length. So I am ready to hem my bottom. I'm gonna do the same thing as I did earlier, turn under 1/2 inch, turn over again, press and pin, put it through my machine, and then I'll have a wonderful curtain. I'm gonna do the same exact thing for the other panel so that I can align both edges of my curtain, and then we'll be ready to go. Also, you can view the written instructions online with photos. So we have a full tutorial for you to read. It's very easy to follow. So now you know how to make your own curtain. This is Lisa with DIY Ready. Thanks for watching, and check out even more tutorials on our site. Thank you.